Well, what you're saying essentially is like, he needs to evolve. He needs to do something different. He's going on year 10. People been looking at his offense for a long time. Juszczyk's been on the field for a decade. Kittle's been on the field for a decade. It's it's not fooling Seattle. Something different. And yet, what we're hearing is that the Niners are seriously considering bringing back Deebo Samuel. You said that he doesn't have the players to execute the offense anymore. Well, Deebo could come back. And I know you said the Niners' top priority was an interior offensive lineman. I didn't hear you say a 30-year-old gadget player who's about 3 years past his prime. What do you think about this rumor? Report?
Okay, let's put it this way. You got a house full of furniture, okay? Just because you shuffle the furniture around and you change where the couch is and you change where the sofa is, you change where the coffee table is, and you give it a new look, but you know what? You still got the same old furniture. You still have the same worn out pieces. You still have the same dated furniture that is not trendy, that is not up to snuff. It's not cutting edge. It's not quality. It's like this. I never saw the movie, but there was something years ago called a movie called Back to the Future.
Mhm.
Okay. The Niners need to go forward. They
Yeah.
cannot go back to the future thinking that that is going to allow them to go forward. They need
Yep.
to cut the umbilical cord on all of their Cabo clique, all of Kyle's buddies where they're on the roster. I hate to say this, sometimes you have to deadwood your forest to allow new growth to occur. You got to take down some of the trees that have, it's like having yogurt in the refrigerator. Your expiration date is come and gone. Throw it out. You have to move on and get some fresh product on the shelf in your refrigerator. Same thing with your roster. You've got to get some fresh legs. You got to get some speed. You got to get some youth. You got to get some explosiveness. You're old, you're dated, you're tired, you're worn out.
Here's my question with Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers and their interest in Deebo Samuel. Every year they draft a wide receiver in round 3 or round 4. Last year they drafted Jordan Watkins. He looked good to me in training camp. He had some moments in the preseason. He played well in college. They never really went to him at all. If any 30-year-old receiver they could find off the street was better, then what is the point of drafting these receivers in the mid rounds if you're just going to go crawling back to the Kendrick Bourne or Deebo Samuel or whatever 34-year-old wide receiver knows you?
Well, part of the thing, to be honest, is Kyle needs to get out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
He's got this bubble in which he's living. And the thing about it is, he needs outside thought process. He needs somebody to come in from the outside and bring in new thoughts, new creativity, new blood, fresh ideas. Everybody on his staff he's hired thinks like he does, or he allows them
Mhm.
only to think like he does. He needs to
Mhm.
have someone, it's like he needs someone to be able to come in from the outside and say, have you thought about this? Have you put this on the board? Have you done this? Have you thought that? I tell you a great story about that. Back in the early 80s, I'm back in Philadelphia's training camp with Sid Gilman, who's now with Vermeil back there. And Sid put this pattern up on the board that he really liked. Everyone throws now uh, the short post, the flanker, the pole route, as they call it, the bang eight. Okay. Sid drew this up in 1980 and put it on the board. Vermeil didn't like it because it wasn't his idea. Okay. So, anyway,
Mhm.
so Sid put it up way up high in the upper left hand corner of the board after he introduced it and came back in, drew it up, and never said a word about it the rest of training camp. One day, Vermeil walks in. He goes, I have this idea. So sure enough, and the thing about it is that fall, I think they were playing the Falcons, and Jaworski threw this bang eight route to this wide receiver they had named Michael Quick, I believe, who was from like North Carolina, one of those schools, and it went for 99 yards and a touchdown. But see, and I mean, Sid Gilman was in 9 halls of fame, okay,
Mhm.
had won championships, in the AFL as well as the NFL with the old Rams as well as with the Chargers when they were in San Diego. And Vermeil still balked at introducing this concept that this Hall of Fame coach has put up on the board until eventually it percolated and fermented in Vermeil's mind so that he felt like he had an attachment to it and said,
Oh, that
ownership.
he thought of it. Yeah.
Correct. Well, that's where Kyle is.
Yeah. You know, it seems to me that if Kyle were really relentless about becoming the best, he would want to bring in someone like, for example, he was on the pregame show. You probably saw him before the Super Bowl, and they asked him like, "What's the key to scoring against this great Seahawks defense?" And he, in an endearing, self-deprecating way, was like, "Hey, don't ask me. I haven't scored a touchdown on them in games," which is true. But like, and it's a good line. But now you have the whole offseason. Wouldn't you want to like poach someone from their coaching staff? Someone who you could bring in as an assistant or as a consultant so you can ask all these questions. What exactly are they seeing? Why do they own me so much? How come Sean McVay can run the ball against them, but I can't? How come he can score against them, but I can't? I mean, if he could ask the questions, but if he doesn't ask them to the right people, he won't improve.
Well, the other thing too, Grant, is, and we used to do this all the time, and Al was great about allowing new thought and creativity and all that kind of stuff. During the off season, it's like I would turn to a certain coach and say, okay, hey, I want you to bring me 4 or 5 new thoughts about throwing screens and something that we could introduce during OTA, something new learning for the players. And then another guy say, okay, we need to be able, we were not a big gadget ball club. Okay. Come up with a couple of rounds or misdirection runs, something special that we can interject that fits it with the flow of our personnel and our offensive scheme. And so you kind of have to give some assignments to your assistant coaches rather than just reviewing last year's cut-ups and analyzing what worked and what didn't work. You got to have something new. And see, that would be the number one thing. If he did not want to go outside the building, he's got all these analysts and the senior offensive analyst and this guy and that, put them to work in the laboratory and say, hey, I need some new concepts. I need some new thinking. I need some fresh ideas. Bring me some concepts, bring me some ideas so that we can analyze them and something that we can actually introduce to the players when we come back for camp. I cannot Xerox the same schemes and the same concept I was using last year and say, well, this is our OTA agenda and our install for OTA when the players are to go, oh my God, this is the same stuff that didn't score a touchdown against Seattle, and you're bringing it back without changing anything. How do you think it's going to work? It's not going to work. I'm sorry.
Well, they'll have Deebo this time, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay.